It's been around 3 years since WiLD was revealed to the world. It promised a beautiful and naturalistic open world with an intriguing baseline, one where the player would take control of a shaman who could possess certain animals that each offered gameplay variation. Need to scope out a potentially dangerous area, possess an eagle, and fly to your heart's content. Stealthily infiltrate enemy-ridden areas with a cute little innocuous rabbit. Smash your foes to bits by befriending a big-ass bear and riding on his back like a badass. Sacrifice one of those animals to commune with the gods, and those gods happened to be massive humanoid giants that seemed as intimidating as they were beautiful. And that's where WiLD got really interesting, as it displayed elements of fantasy and grown-up fairy tale storytelling. What's more is that it was being created by Michael Ancel at the helm. For those who might not be aware, this is probably the most renowned games developer who has shaped his own home at Ubisoft for as long as I have been in gaming. Konami had Hideo Kojima, and while his fame is a good few rungs up the ladder, Ubisoft has Michael Ancel. He is the brainchild of Rayman, one of the most well-known figures of gaming, bringing up the rear behind Lara Croft and Mario. And he would then go on to create what he considered was a prototype for the game he always wanted to make. Beyond Good and Evil would garner itself a small but seriously loyal audience, and a cult following was this franchise's true reward. But like I said, Ancel considered it a stopgap project intended to evolve into something much more, an ambition that would later prove troublesome for the continued momentum of WiLD's development. For the time being, in the age of the PS2 and the Xbox, the technology to truly realise Ancel's ambitions simply didn't exist. He was a patient man, and he waited, until eventually, jump forward 2 gaming generations, and on the tail end of their time, Ancel would appear to have diverted his attention back to that hallowed game he always wanted to make.
Monkey's got a date. What?
What? That's Swiss fucking chocolate, pig. Bon appetito!
Beyond Good and Evil 2 was back front and centre, and getting it there led WiLD and Ancel's newly formed studio Wild Sheep back at the rear. So the ultimate question on the tips of all our tongues after all this, has WiLD been cancelled? The short answer is no, it hasn't been cancelled, although the reality of a game sitting on a release timeline slowly drawing nearer to us also, well, no. In fact, what has happened to WiLD is that it has become the dreaded vaporware. When we read articles online about games being in limbo, or more commonly referred to as stuck in development hell, this is exactly it. They became vaporware. I keep saying that word as if I expect everyone to know exactly what it means. Some of you might do, but I'm going to go into it here for those of you who don't. Vaporware is computer software that gets foolishly announced by its creators months or maybe even years before it is ready for release. This product is never actually manufactured. Neither is it cancelled. In other words, WiLD is not in line for a release, but it's not cancelled either. Sure, I could have just said that in the first place, instead of just saying it's in limbo, but telling a story is more fun, and hopefully more engaging for you guys. I'm wondering what the heck those dudes at Wild Sheep Studio have been doing for the last year. Chilling and playing darts with a poster of Michael Ancel's face because he left them all there to go to E3 and reveal Beyond Good and Evil 2 his one true love? And it was easy for him to do that under Ubisoft's name, because he didn't just become creative director at Wild Sheep, but also managed to stay under Ubisoft's employment umbrella. Some of them might have gone to other studios in Ubisoft, who knows. I do know that I had a look at their bare bones ass website, and they are apparently hiring, which is weird, and kind of encouraging. On the one hand, it could just be a dead, unmaintained site draped in old news. On the other hand, how awesome would it be if this was a super mega whopper reveal that says, hey, we coming out tomorrow? Don't hold your breath for that one, folks. Ubisoft top brass would be like, hey, you can't do that, you're marketing it wrong. People haven't had time to learn about the 10 or so special editions we need to release it in. And this is what makes WiLD's announcement so long before it being ready quite an unusual thing to have come out of Ubisoft. Nowadays, we have the likes of Bethesda announcing a game like Fallout 4 or Doom at E3, and then saying that they'll release it the following March, and so they arrive on the shelves like clockwork, nary a delay to be found. But it would appear that Ansel was, at the time, so confident in his product that he saw fit to tell us about it so far in advance, any old unfortunate shit could happen in the meantime. After the game's second, more detailed gameplay video arrived, Ansel describing the options to the player, it really felt like WiLD was around the corner, but instead it turned into digital vapor. Before learning of the whole vaporware thing, I searched around, looking for signs of life. Me being the avocado on toast eating millennial that I am, I turned to none other than social media. Wild Sheep Studio has a Twitter page, but even in their heyday of releasing trailers, doesn't look like they bothered posting anything. There's not a peep there, even now. Its Facebook was a little bit more active, if only to serve as a mirror held up to Ansel's Instagram account, as it shared various links found there of Ansel playing the game. It's as if he was acutely aware of how WiLD was, or would eventually, fade into nothingness as he posted cute little updates for fans. It's as if he was fighting against the knowledge that the technology to finally create his Moby Dick game had arrived, knowing the people of Wild Sheep Studio were depending on him not, just sodding off to follow his dreams. I'm painting him in a bad light. I actually think he's one of the few high-profile developers out there that isn't full of shit. But it would appear the man eventually cracked, and off to follow his dreams he went. Good for him, I suppose. If anything, this little story of a gifted games developer being pulled hither and thither, to and fro, just means Beyond Good and Evil 2 better be one of the best goddamn games he's ever made. WiLD does not have a release date. Is it in development? Nobody knows. Is it cancelled? Absolutely not, no. Will it ever see the light of day? If it does, it won't be for a long, long time.